Hi, folks. Welcome to the second episode of Get Mic'd Up, the industry standard, powered by Mic'd Up Studios. I'm your host for today, Tom Hutchinson. I also am the studio manager here at Mic'd Up Podcast Studios. I am joined today by two gentlemen of pretty fine distinction. I'm fortunate enough to call them both colleagues and friends. They're the founders of the Magnify Growth Content Agency. To my left is Asif Jahin.
Thanks, mate. Glad to meet you.
And to my right is Esa, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten your surname, mate.
Esa Khan.
Esa Khan, there you go. Esa Khan's on my right. And we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about Mic'd Up and Magnify. So for those of people who are watching, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you came to found Magnify and how you found us and all that sort of stuff, or the story how we all got together.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. We pretty much started in our parents' basement garage. We started selling perfumes, and we realized we needed to learn the art of advertising. We learned that, and then we started helping out some businesses. A finance firm came on, and we're like, dude, this is our niche. Isa's an ex-law student as well. He worked at a law firm, and we just doubled down on law firms and finance firms. And really what we do is we grow law firms, finance firms, and accounting firms. That's the simplest way to put it.
I think for us as well, like it was a long journey to get here, obviously. And I think at some point we realized that the skill of marketing is so important when it comes to content creation. And we were at a stage in our business journey where we realized like we don't have the time to learn all the nitty gritties of camera gear, lighting, etc. And we just sort of stumbled across Mic'd Up, yourself, Dan, everyone involved, and we're like, this solves our issue perfectly. And I'd say that was about probably a year ago.
Yeah, I think we've been working together about
That's
a year.
crazy, it's been a year.
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest is history, as I say. It's been a great experience. We're privileged to also call you guys our mates, our friends.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a privilege.
No, we appreciate that. We appreciate you guys. So I guess the next question, just sort of following on from that, and I heard you talking about it in your previous podcast, indeed, about niching and like, so how important do you think that is for modern businesses in terms of like getting the right pairs of eyes in to see their content and all that sort of stuff?
100%. So you can go viral, and there's so many people that you can get millions of views, but how much of that millions of views converts into millions of dollars? So what we've found is like when you niche down in your content, in your marketing, you're attracting the buyers that you actually want, the buyers you can actually help. And when your messaging is clear, everything becomes so much easier. Sales process. Like if we were to run a one-stop marketing agency, I already know like it will be just pain everywhere.
We probably would have quit a long time ago, I think. And our clients won't get the best results, like, which is weird. It's because like we see the difference that we can have when we niche down and specialize. Even with the firms that we talk to, when we make their ads, we just say, hey, like when we're making content, we want to speak to like certain types of people. So I think definitely there is an approach of top of funnel content, middle of funnel content, bottom of funnel content, where you try to attract as many people you want, and then there's a certain amount of people that you can actually help you funnel them through. But at the end of the day, like you got to niche down. I think I echo that as well. I think I'm a big believer in specialists rather than jack of all trades, and I think that's across society in a lot of broad things. One of the boys mentioned it before perfectly, where we're not trying to save the world, right? You are specialists at certain things and you're great at that. And you can take an example of even like this podcast studio, right? You guys are specialists when it comes to a certain area. You're great at it, probably one of the best. And you guys excel as a business because of that, right? You don't offer everything under the sun. You offer certain things that you're great at and you excel at that. And we like to think that we're the same as well. We don't offer everything under the sun. We offer certain things that we are very confident in. We know it works. We have specific niche in terms of our clients we take on. And that's why the business is where it is at today. I think that's with a lot of things. If you look at successful businesses around the world, that's probably a very common theme amongst all of them.
And just on that as well, that's something that we hammer home with our clients, particularly people who are very nervous the first time they come in. They're going, oh, and I say it's not an audition. We're not trying to make a movie here. You came here because your field in a very specific way, whether it be finance, law. We get a lot of people in property, things like that. Like the fact is that regardless of your business, is that to get to this point, to get through our doors, or to engage you guys in business, either way, you have to be at a certain level in your industry anyway, right? You have to be
100%.
you have to be far enough along a path to be good enough to even consider it. So that's what I say to people. I say, your industry, trust that. And that's what content creation is about. It's about being your authentic self, but also sharing a message, whether it be how good your business is or a lot of other things that we come across, but particularly hammering that business side of things.
100%.
Yeah.
I think
so
I guess investment. I think it's an investment either way. Like when comes time in your business where you want to start hammering down content, like you said, it's not only just a time investment, it's also financial investment. And I think that investment into investing into the right sort of people, the right sort of places where you want to film, etc., is a massive factor, right? And I think that's what you guys help people with a lot as well, right, in their journey.
Yeah, 100%. So how do you guys think that marketing and particularly consumer attention has changed, and how do you guys think you've helped particularly people in your industry adapt to those changes?
So whether you like it or not, every company in the world now is becoming a media company. So PayPal just hired a head of content. We're seeing ChatGPT have content strategists who are full-time. Whether we like this or not, like, media is everything when it comes to businesses and business growth. So content is no longer becoming like a nice to have. It's becoming more of like, this is the infrastructure we need to grow our business. This wasn't the thing back in like COVID, especially in Australia. You could get away with just a nice little picture on your Facebook account. Now we're seeing firms that are having in-house studios, in-house content creators. We see this in China as well. China literally has people like pumping out 3 reels a day, 5 reels a day, like just for a business, a simple, boring business.
Yeah.
And I feel the game's not changing. It's already changed. We're just seeing the impact now. And if you're not going to do content because you're scared of showing up on camera, cool, man. I hope your business goes really well. I don't want any business to go down.
Yeah.
But we're seeing an unfair advantage for business owners who are jumping on camera, treating it like a media company, that your business is not just a a little business that you have. Treat it like a media company.
And embracing the change.
And embrace the change.
100%.
Because if you don't embrace it, stay behind.
Yeah, I'd say on that as well, something I actually heard today, everyone talks about the economic recession around the world. There's also a trust recession, right? This is something that I don't credit myself for that saying at all. But the truth is, like, a lot of businesses are struggling when it comes to their customers trusting them. And the question then becomes, how do we get more trust for our own clients and our customers, right? And one of the ways is through your presentation online. That's through content, right? If you're not showing up in that aspect, how can potential customers, potential clients trust you to show up in their matters, in their cases? So that's one way we answer that and solve that problem for the clients that we work with. And I think the idea is shifting across the industry where people are now taking that a lot more serious in terms of how do we get more trust. This is a direct answer to that problem.
It's interesting, Esa, and I think that leads me to another point, which is I hear a lot about generating authority with content creation. Can you guys both speak a little bit about that and how you think that content creation helps business leaders to generate that authority?
So, like, with the business that we work with, they have a lot of authority in the real world. Lawyers who are doing like 2-3 mil per year, when they go into a networking event, people treat them seriously. But when it comes to their social media side, you don't really see that because they're not posting. They think, okay, if I post, I'm going to look like an ambulance chasing lawyer for some reason. Yeah. And that holds them back from posting. Like, no, I don't want to look uncredible. Like, but the truth is, you're not posting content. You're not investing into good content. That's making you look cheap. Like, that's making you look cheap. That's making you look like you're not credible online. And in terms of growing authority, I don't think it's just like, reels that are talking head, everything. I think it's a mixture of everything. Frank Reef from Kinzo really does this really well. It's like, treat content like a Netflix series where you have, your comedy, you have your documentaries, you have your
characters.
You have your characters. And each type of content is like based on a certain category. Not everything has to be, trust building through a mic and you're talking direct to camera. Some some reels could just be relatable. Some reels could be just skits. But in terms of what we do to build authority for these like business leaders, we do a mix of different formats just to make it more attractable to people who are watching it.
I think if I can just add on something on that as well.
Cool.
To answer why like content has now become directly correlated to authority, I think the big factor as well is the way that people are searching for services that they need has changed dramatically. We can even think, the last 5-10 years, every time you need someone, you'd go to Google straight away, you'd search something, or you'd hear about something from someone else. And the way the younger generation now is going towards, like, think about the most amount of times I've gone to restaurants because I've seen something online. I've seen a reel, and there's the exact same thing for professional services. People are searching through social media now, they're searching through AI. The way you find the services you need has dramatically changed. So the question then becomes, how do you show up in that aspect? How you show up when people are searching you from these different avenues? And that's how you build authority, right? That's why content is so important, because then when people do search up your firm, you show up as an authority straight away, where it's like, yeah, this is a trusted source. I want to go to these guys. So I think that's a massive factor into why that's changed as well, and why content is directly correlated to authority now.
That's very good. So would you say that this is ultimately what separates brands that grow consistently from businesses that are constantly chasing short-term wins?
100%.
100%.
Brand growth is directly related to how you're growing your content for some reason right now. And that's just kind of like the principle.
It's the same thing. I think it's the same concept in terms of like, where is your brand visible most? And the truth is, it's social media. It's online, it's social media. That's where your brand exists most. Whereas back in the day, it might have been, your shop front, your storefront, which is still part of the whole process, still part of your whole branding. But the truth is, you get more eyeballs online than ever before, right? So brand growth is directly correlated to your online presence growth as well. It's exactly correlated.
Sure.
Hey, it's Carla from Mic'd Up Podcast Studios. If you want more authority, more trust, and more clients, it's time to start a podcast. We'll make it look and sound world class. Book your first session free at Mic'd Up.
I just want to move on a little bit and talk about how, particularly, because I know that you guys do a lot of long and short form work with your clients, but like I want to talk particularly about long form because that's what we're set up here for at Mic'd Up. And I want to talk about how there are obviously advantages and disadvantages to both, but I want to talk about how you guys approach particularly the creation of long form content and how you think it helps to fit into this sort of new economy that we're talking about in terms of brand trust and all that sort of stuff.
I think as a content agency, we're always thinking of, how can we think outside the box and try different angles, different approaches. And I think, when we came across you guys, not only did we use you guys for our own pieces of content, but also for our clients. And people like it's really weird, but people find relatable content so much more engaging when people just, peel away the layers and, just be their natural self. And a setting like this, like a podcast setting, really allows that, where it feels a bit more unscripted, feels a bit more real and natural. And that just always resonates more with people. At the end of the day, people buy people. That's the truth, right? And if you always show up so scripted or fake, it's not going to always resonate well, which is part of the reason why I'm against a lot of AI videos at the moment. I just don't think it's good enough to that extent. Whereas in these type of settings, you get to be your natural self on camera for our clients, for ourselves, and people can relate to that. They want to see the person behind the brand, the person behind the business, right? Who's actually running the show. And as if we can touch on this more as well, but I think that's been a game changer for a lot of the content that we push out. We intentionally try to make it more real. And I think being in these type of environments fosters that.
In terms of long form format, there's a study shown, I think, I can't remember who did it, but you need a certain amount of minutes for someone to come and buy from you. Short form content is great for showing up on people's feeds, but it will take you a significantly amount of more short form pieces of content to convince someone to buy from you and trust you.
So to leave a lasting impression.
To leave a lasting impression compared to long form content. Because someone can just watch a YouTube video, and if they watch you for 30 minutes, that's how much short form content pieces would that be if it's a 30-second short form content?
60 videos.
60 videos.
So it's either they consume 60 short form pieces of content on your Instagram page, or they watch one long form video on YouTube. And that consumption, again, takes time. It's either 30 minutes or scattered across a lot of time, right? A lot of days. So that's where long form content, like Asif mentioned, is a superpower in this niche.
So we use it for YouTube, and the other pieces of long form content where we really see the best ROI is video sales letters. So when people jump through an ad, they can watch a video sales letter, which is kind of like just a persuasive video to actually just showcase like what are you actually selling. Then after that, we add more long form videos on the thank you page. So let's say they're booking a call with someone. We'll actually have a few videos. This works really well for professional services like law firms, property, wherever you are in professional service. So we'll have a thank you video. Like, thank you for booking a call. Make sure you do confirm. This is exactly when the, like on your calendar has to be there. Then we have like a few objection kind of handling videos that are about 1 to 3 minute long. So, okay, what does the firm believe in? How is it like to work with us? What's our team? Just simple breakout videos. And dude, this is working really well for professional services, because by the time they go through that whole funnel, they've watched so much videos and they already know exactly what you're going to sell them on the call. They're prepared. And it just feels like kind of like when you go to networking events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so easy to close clients if you're good at what you do and you go to a networking event, because they can see you in person. They can ask you questions that they will normally have. But instead now you're just amplifying that through content.
Sure. I just want to bring it back to the scripted thing that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys also think that because I found this myself in doing my job here at Mic'd Up, a lot of the long form stuff, I think chasing virality is a bit of a fruitless search ultimately, because if you try to script something and make it go viral, ultimately it'll have the opposite effect in a lot of areas. Whereas if you kind of let the content breathe and like let people have that long form conversation, that's where the moments really come out, where you go, that's it kind of thing, and you get those real moments from your clients. Do you find that that's the case?
So true. Very, very true. I think, like I said, like authenticity is massive, right? Authenticity is massive. And like, you can't fake, like what you're saying, you can't fake moments. That's the truth. Like in the moment, like a live reaction or a live sort of thought or a live saying from someone, that speaks volumes to like your potential customers, for viewers, etc. And like, I think, again, like I said, like settings like this allows for that to foster. You're more likely to get those type of moments if you're in a natural setting where people feel comfortable, people feel taken care of. You know, you want to try to foster that environment so that you can get those type of moments.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Just to sort of wrap up this section, why do you guys think marketing conversations often get oversimplified online? Do you think people trivialize this area of professionalism in a general sense?
I think when it comes to marketing and like conversations around it, it's always changing a lot, even though the human psychology stays the same. But there's always new tactics. There's always new funnels that you can try. And in a short form piece of content, it's so hard to give so much in such a little amount of time. So sometimes marketers, being marketers, they would chase hooks. They would chase the most controversial thing to say, or something that's completely right, framed in a way that it's wrong. So yeah, man, I think it's, one thing could be like, we need to create good content that gets in front of people. So let's change it in a way. Let's add a wrapper to it.
Mm-hmm.
And another one could just be like, we simply can't showcase everything in just a simple
30 seconds. Yeah, you can't. 100%.
I think sometimes as well, like the really top-notch marketers, they make it look easy. I think that's, and then it's your average Joe blogs are like, oh, it's easy, man. Like, just videos. It's simple. Like, I'll get in front of the camera, I'll do the same thing, and we'll go viral. And the truth is, it's an art. Like, there is so much more to it that happens behind the scenes before you see the polished product of like even our clients' content or our content or like your favorite creators. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes
100%
to actually deliver that product that you consume and you're like, that's an amazing video.
There's a saying,
all your favorite creators do this.
There's a saying I've always liked, which is you'll never believe how long it took me to become an overnight success. Yeah, which is a reflection of how much, like, there's that 10% people see, and then there's 90% the iceberg.
Yeah, exactly. There's the tip of the iceberg
work that goes into it. Yeah,
100%. And marketing is no different. Just because it might look easy, might seem easy, it's not the case at all. There is a lot of time spent between it. There's so many different factors as well. Like, it's part of the viewing experience. We talk about this all the time. Like, audio is a massive part of the viewing experience, right? The camera quality is a massive part of the viewing experience. What the content actually is, viewing experience. Like, these are all things that you might take for granted because you consume so much content, but someone behind the scenes who's actually planning the stuff or the setting, the environment, it plays a massive role
Absolutely.
in the output of the actual video itself.
100%. I'm just going to move it on a little bit. I saw someone online asking whether business content should mainly focus on generating immediate leads or whether it's more about building trust, authority, long-term positioning. As a growth agency, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bit of both. You can't have one without the other. So we focus on obviously growing law firms and accounting firms. And in order to do it, you can't have one or the other. So you need to have good organic content presence, and you need to have content that's made just for you to get more booked calls.
Sure.
Because we run that through ads, and like that gets immediate leads. Awesome. If you're in the space where you need to make money right now, go do that. But if you want to build a brand and something long term, do both.
I would agree. I think it goes hand in hand, right? You need to have a bit of both. Because the truth is, like, organic content that, you know, increases trust and authority is great, but then where are you directing people with that, right? And that's where ads come into it. And same thing where it's like, you know, ads without the organic content is, you know, you're trying to sell people on something, but they don't have that trust and authority beforehand, which is where it goes hand in hand perfectly, right? They both match up, you know, it's yin and yang. They match up perfectly with each other. So we've always found the best approach to this is to have a bit of both.
Sure.
It's never just one or the other. Obviously, it depends on what they need right now in terms of their strategy. If it's a long-term play, short-term play, obviously makes a big difference. But the best approach, like I say, like the best marketers in the world, the best companies in the world, you'll see it's always a mix of both. It's always been a mix of both. And I think it'll stay that way for a long time.
So do you guys think content needs immediate ROI to still be valuable?
You pushing out the content should be the ROI, number one. But
I don't necessarily believe so.
I don't believe so.
I think, you know, again, unless you're chasing virality.
The thing is, like, if you don't get an ROI from content, you're going to be like, oh, didn't make an investment back. So why should I invest into something that's not?
I mean, that's why I asked the question, because ultimately we are selling this to business leaders. That's what we're doing. Like, so
I think if you do it right, like, you should get a return on investment. Yeah. Like, just makes sense.
Do you guys think authority is becoming sort of a currency within itself? It's becoming more important than things like reach and all that sort of stuff.
It's becoming harder and harder to get. I think, honestly, in 2 years' time, we would see the firms that have built a brand from now have such unfair advantage. It's not even funny. Like, I tell my friends who are in law school or dental school, like, just start posting content now.
This question actually relates to something that you did bring up, which is the recession of trust, which I love that term, by the way. Do you think consumers trust businesses differently now compared to a few years ago?
100%.
With the advent of things like AI and all that stuff.
100%. Yeah, especially with the advent of AI as well. Trust is at an all-time low across multiple industries. I'd say even every industry, right? And the truth is, you have an excess of supply of new businesses, new personal brands entering the market all the time. And you can't control that. That's always going to be the case, right? But then consumers now have an excess of choice, right? And they're always going to go for the choice that seems the most obvious for them, right? And your job as a marketer, as a business, is to be like, how do I make that the most obvious choice to my potential customers, to my potential consumers, that we are the obvious choice? And the truth is, it always comes down to trust and authority, right? If someone trusts you blindly, they're always going to go with you because, yeah, this is the obvious choice, man. Of course. I can't compare it to anything else. The other option is like a crap option. I don't really trust it. This is the obvious choice. I'm going to go with that every single day of the week.
Yep.
And like you said, like, trust recession is a great term because, you know, we always talk about recession from a monetary lens, and trust has become a currency as well, in the sense of it's at an all-time low. And if you have trust, you're like a rich man. You're a billionaire in this sense.
Absolutely. So, like, I think ultimately what we're trying to foster here is a shift in perception of things like trust and authority being more than just buzzwords, or being actual currency that you can convert into customers, leads, money, basically.
100%. I completely agree. Like, absolutely. You build on these things right now, trust and authority, and you reap the benefits later down the track. That's how it works.
100%. Do you think, do people want to understand the people behind the businesses before buying, which you've touched on earlier, but I'm really interested in this in terms of building a profile.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the same.
Do you think people buy people, which is, again, you trust recession, people buy people. You've both come up with some bangers today.
Because all businesses is like, they say, okay, it's a B2B or is it B2C, business to business or business to consumers. At the end of the day, it's H to H. Human to human.
Human to human, exactly.
I got that from, I think, Sharon. Yeah, he's like, it's all human to human business. You're not making business with AI. You're making business with other business people.
Cool. We're just sort of getting towards the end now. I'm just going to start wrapping up. Sorry?
No, keep going. Keep
Okay. After someone watches or listens to our conversation, what do you ultimately hope that they better understand about marketing, branding, or business growth?
It's that there's so much out there that you don't understand. Even if you have a successful business right now, how much more you can take it to that next level by just leveraging content.
Sure.
That's what I would say.
I'd say, yeah, like number one, understanding the importance of the nature of the world we live in now in terms of how important content is now more than ever. And I think another thing is like understanding that you don't know what you don't know. The truth is like not everyone is a content expert. Not everyone is a marketer. It does take time to learn, right? And if you want to fast track it, it's about joining forces or partnering people who do know the skill or who do have the environment where you can excel in that, right? Which is where, coming to a studio like this where people have it all sorted for you and you just have to focus on one aspect. It makes your life so much easier, right? It comes back to the same thing. You don't know what you don't know. And it does take time to learn these things, right? So if you want to fast track that process, you have to team up with other people who do know what they're doing and you can just tag along with them, right?
Absolutely.
So if one person was going to take one thing away from that, it'd probably be that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to end things on a bit of a fun one. So I think a pretty common question for marketers ultimately is how would you pitch a business that doesn't think they need you? Okay. I want to ask you guys a sort of flip on this question, which is, can you guys think of a business that doesn't need the internet, online marketing in this day and age?
Oh man,
A business that doesn't need the internet.
that's such a good question.
That's a great question. I can't think of any. I genuinely can't.
I mean, unless you have like millions of dollars of contracts and you just want to stay where you are. Yeah, cool.
Like if you're happy with where you are right now.
So the brands that are already institutions, brands like Coke or something like that, like,
But let's say
they don't need to advertise. Like,
Yeah.
But let's say you're starting a business in any industry. Like which industry would you not need?
Advertising it. No,
'Cause I think a lot of
tradies.
tradies are hard to sell, particularly tradies of an older generation. I know that my best mate works for a tree lopper, and I said to him, he's like, oh, we're having trouble getting leads, and I'm like, bro, I could hook you up with a dozen people who could help you. And he's like, yeah, but my boss won't go for any of that.
I mean,
so like,
yeah, there's like this whole thing. It's like, how Napoleon kind of took over all these other empires in his time. It was because the other empire generals were like, oh, we've always done this. This is the strategy we've gone with, and we're going to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon was this young guy, and he was just like, I don't care about your strategies. We're going to try this new thing.
100%.
And he beat those generals every single time because he knew that the world's shifting. We have to use this strategy instead.
I mean, Hannibal, Alexander the Great,
literally,
all that sort of stuff. Yeah, 100%.
I think you have to just move with the times as well. Like at one point, every business was a cash business at one point. Then it became, FPOS, cards, transfers. Now, is there any like real cash businesses really anymore? We don't even carry cash, right? And you have to move with the times with a lot of these type of things, right? So when you say that question of like which industry doesn't need content, I generally don't think there's a single one.
There you go.
Unless it's a legal industry. Unless it's illegal, I don't know. But
illegal? Oh yeah.
Very possibly.
Even then,
cash only businesses.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, shall we?
Even then, you
so we don't get in
content.
trouble.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. Well, I think that's probably going to do it for this chat. Thank you so much for coming in, Esa, Asif. Always a pleasure. I've been Tom Hutchinson. I'm the studio manager and the host for the second episode of Get Mic'd Up, the industry standard, powered by Mic'd Up Studios. Hope that you guys get some value out of this, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.